Hello. This is Antya from Byte Shuffle. Thank you for always watching my videos. This time, I put together a guide on strategies and sideboarding considerations for the Doomsday Combo when using the Painter variant. There are a few archetypes I didn't encounter while playing leagues after the ban announcement. So I'll cover those first before transitioning to post-ban videos. I apologize for the delay in releasing videos featuring the post-ban list. There's an article about my participation in the Eternal Party linked in the description. So if you want to check out the latest list, please take a look there. Here is the deck list we will be using this time. It's a bit weak, but it has lands and draw spells, and I can use Vexing Bauble on turn 1 to constrain my opponent, so I'll keep it. I'll lock them down with Vexing Bauble. It seems to be a Dimir-colored deck. I'll search for Mana Acceleration. I stacked Geaswill on top, followed by Chrome Mox. I'll search for more Mana Acceleration. I stacked Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, and Dark Ritual in that order, then drew. I'm going all in. From here, I'll generate additional mana needed for the combo. I'll go for the combo through the graveyard. I'll use Hand Disruption to scout ahead. The opponent was playing Doomsday Combo. With the storm count high enough, I'll cast Tendrils of Agony. Before sideboarding, I'd like to review the list we used. First, the conclusion. I will explain it step by step. Let's briefly review how the Doomsday Combo works. First, the opponent cast and resolve Doomsday. With Doomsday's effect, the opponent create a 5-card deck. This set of 5 cards is referred to as a pile. After that, the opponent win with the effect of Thassa's Oracle. Now, let's take a closer look at the specific sequence of plays. First, the opponent play Underground Sea and cast Dark Ritual to generate 3 black mana, then cast Doomsday. After that, let's assume the opponent created their pile like this. To win on the same turn the opponent cast Doomsday, the opponent will need 2 blue mana for Thassa's Oracle. This time, I'll show an example where the opponent generates 2 blue mana using Lion's Eye Diamond. The opponent cast Lion's Eye Diamond and put it onto the battlefield. After that, the opponent cast a card to draw from the pile they created earlier. The card used to draw from the top of the pile is referred to as a pile opener. The opponent casts the pile opener and puts it on the stack. The opponent then activates Lion's Eye Diamond, generating 3 blue mana. After that, the opponent resolved the effect of Street Wraith, which is on the stack. By the way, cards like Street Wraith and Edge of Autumn with cycling effects are referred to as cyclers. Next, the opponent draw cards from the pile in the order of Street Wraith, Edge of Autumn, Thassa's Oracle, and achieve victory under special conditions. In this example, Lion's Eye Diamond was used to generate 2 blue mana, but 2 Lotus Petals would also work just fine. In this example, Street Wraith was used, but if the opponent have extra blue mana, they can also use draw spells like Ponder or Brainstorm as pile openers without any issues. Earlier, I demonstrated an example where the opponent have 3 black mana for Doomsday, 2 blue mana for Thassa's Oracle, and a pile opener. However, if any of these elements are missing and the turn is passed back to you, failing to secure victory within your next turn will likely result in losing the game. The key game plan we should aim for is to prevent Doomsday from being cast in the first place. If Doomsday resolves, it's important to remember that you'll have at most 1 turn of leeway. Earlier, I mentioned that the Doomsday Combo requires 3 black mana, 2 blue mana, and a pile opener. Now, let me introduce a few small tricks that might occasionally come in handy. If the opponent cannot secure 2 blue mana after resolving Doomsday, they won't be able to cast Thassa's Oracle at all. If the opponent has no lands in their hand and didn't include any lands in their pile, You can use Boseiju, who endures from your hand to target the opponent's land, potentially preventing them from casting Thassa's Oracle. Let's go back to the scenario where the opponent's Doomsday resolved, and they created their pile. If you have Surgical Extraction in your hand, you can cast it targeting the Doomsday in the opponent's graveyard to disrupt the order of your opponent's pile, potentially giving you an extra turn to respond. Let's return to the previous scenario once again. If you have Consigned to Memory in your hand, you can cast it targeting the triggered ability of your opponent's Thassa's Oracle, potentially buying yourself some extra time. We've gone off on a bit of a tangent. But now let's get back to the main topic. In the Doomsday matchup, these are the cards relevant to Ad Nauseam Tendrils. First, to bypass graveyard hate cards like Surgical Extraction and Grafdigger's Cage. Due to the deck structure, once the opponent has enough mana, their strategy effectively revolves around Doomsday as a single card combo, whereas our strategy requires multiple cards to execute the Storm combo, making it an indivisible sequence. The opponent combines hand disruption and counter spells to disrupt our strategy, which makes this matchup unfavorable for us due to the structural differences in the decks. To counter this, we'll include the Painter package, transforming our deck into a 2-card combo strategy that can be executed in parts. For sideboarding, I'll remove the core package introduced in the deck explanation video. Next, against counterspells like Force of Will, Force of Negation, Daze, Consigned to Memory, and Flusterstorm, Veil of Summer can be used to counter them. I'll include additional hand disruption. Next is Opposition Agent. While it's rarely included and likely doesn't require specific countermeasures, if you have the opportunity to check your opponent's deck contents after Doomsday resolves, it's a good idea to confirm whether it's included. Next, regarding basic lands. Since the opponent doesn't run Wasteland, they won't be denying our mana. Additionally, since both decks are combo-oriented, there's little benefit to keeping lands on the battlefield. Therefore, I'll remove all of them. Even if I go down to 6 cards, there's a chance of getting a stronger hand, so I'll mulligan. I'll put Lion's Eye Diamond on the bottom. My opponent cast Ponder and chose to shuffle. I'll lock them down with Vexing Bauble. Since Doomsday resolved, I'll gather information about my opponent's deck and then concede. After checking my opponent's deck, it seems the cards relevant to us are 3 copies of Consigned to Memory, 1 Grafdigger's Cage, 4 Force of Will, 3 Days, and 2 Thoughtseize. The opponent doesn't have any lands that produce green mana, so it seems they aren't running Veil of Summer. Additionally, Opposition Agent is not included in their deck either. If the necessary cards for the Storm plan come up favorably, there might still be a chance. The adventure comes to an end here. Even if I go down to 6 cards, there's a chance of getting a stronger hand, so I'll mulligan. I'll put Lotus Petal on the bottom. I'll use Dark Ritual to deploy the Painter package. Since Grindstone is fewer in number in the deck, I cast it first. The opponent assumed I was a typical ANT deck and started with Grafdigger's Cage, but since my combo doesn't rely on the graveyard, I'll just ignore it. I'll deploy Wishclaw Talisman. I'm going all in. From here, the opponent has only 2 cards in hand and already used a Force of Will by pitching another Force of Will, so they likely don't have any more counters. Additionally, since they weren't playing cards like Disruptor Flute, I'll search for and cast Painter's Servant. With Wishclaw Talisman on the opponent's battlefield, if their hand contains Dark Ritual, Doomsday, and a Cycler, I'll lose. If I can draw a land within the next 2 turns, my chances of winning are high. Thank you for watching up to this point. I apologize for the frequent play mistakes. I hope to improve at MTG together with everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving it a thumbs up. See you in the next one. This has been Antya.